How are
Hey,
ya? What's shaking? How you doing, Lawrence?
hey, Heidi, I'm doing great. We're
Awesome.
celebrating today.
Good.
We're
Yes.
celebrating today. For those watching, you may be like, man, what is he wearing? I got the backward baseball cap on. I'm repping, this is the old school Laurel Hill Lions. Shout out to Hanover Park. What's up? The Laurel Hill Lions. I'm actually just wearing these colors today because El Segundo, you guys, for any of you Little League World Series baseball fans, we won it all today, guys.
Woo!
Representing the South Bay. And
SoCal
they happen to have the
kids.
same, colors, South Bay representing.
Yes. You
Yeah.
want to see that winning hit?
Let's roll the tape, Heidi. Hey.
To the studio.
Let's do it. Oh, do you need me to?
That's exciting.
No, you got to play.
Oh. And we play.
You got to play. Oh, man.
Yay! SoCal kids for the win. Fabulous.
One of the best games, championship game, doesn't even matter that we've seen here.
What a moment for Lewis Laffey. What a game that we just saw here in Williamsport.
12 years old.
Sunday.
Woo!
Okay.
Yeah.
12 years old. Every 12-year-old dream to win the final game of the year, but much less the Little League World Series. Lewis Laffey, 6'1". Kid's going to be a monster.
That's awesome. Congrats to them.
Yeah.
That is big news. That's really sweet. That's great to celebrate. That's so fun. And you just had a big celebration. How was the big birthday? You're not close there. You got one more year to go till the big 5-0.
Yes. I turned 49 last weekend, and it was, it was a great time. I actually went to a baseball game.
Oh,
on my birthday weekend, and we watched the Angels. I got to watch Ohtani play, and the Angels got crushed. Angels got crushed 18-4, but it's all good. We had a great time screaming in the stands, and
awesome.
Gotta love sports. So.
That's fun. Well, I know we're going to chit chat a little bit about that today. Current events, some hot topics in the news. And then of course, Lawrence's amazing epic Instagram he has some amazing hot topics that he's always covering on there. But we did, before we started taping, I do think it's kind of cool and important to bring up the sports today. Because how important that is for a community.
Absolutely. One thing I got excited when I saw that they made it into the tournament. So I was sort of following it because I'm always checking like local news and whatnot. And, I lived in El Segundo for a while. I'm in Redondo Beach. So I was like, oh, this is kind of neat, for the community. And parents are coming out. George Brett Field in El Segundo was packed. So they put up a big screen for everybody to watch the game. A lot of excitement. I was down by the beach, Hermosa Beach Pier yesterday, and the bars and restaurants were full because they had a game yesterday that they needed to win to get to the final game today. And I think that the bigger thing is, obviously sports, it's activity, it's it's something fun to do, but it really does kind of bring people together in a community and gets kids and parents involved with each other. And, I grew up playing Little League. I was a Little League All-Star, perennial All-Star. So it's like, it's near and dear to my heart. So so I put it up there on my page to just kind of let's get excited about it. And, I think youth sports, they're a big deal. There's baseball, football, whatever it might be. So get your kids active, get out there, volunteer, coach, make signs. It's
just
a
your
lot of fun.
Local park districts have little signups. It doesn't have to be like at the serious guns either. It can just be, your local park district. Have a little fun with that.
Absolutely.
And
don't let pickleball take over, guys. I love pickleball. Shout out to pickleball. But, they fine, anything that's getting people moving. baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball.
I was an all-star too,
American
Lawrence.
pastime.
Yes.
You were what?
I was an all-star too for pom-poms. Top 5 in Illinois.
No, right? Come on now. We know what we're
It was so
talking
fun.
about.
And my dad was at every game with his big VHS camera. He was there.
Amazing.
It was a family affair.
Amazing.
Getting families involved in community, that's a huge thing. We're dealing with the community now because, we're building the outdoor classroom, and the giant was out there with the tractor yesterday, kind of leveling the ground, getting ready for the big build. And then there were some of the community members, some of the dads, everybody's all hands on deck trying to make this happen.
Exactly.
And I love that. That feels good.
There's no AI that can replace that. There's no app that can replace that. Getting out there, volunteering, helping out, breaking ground.
Yeah.
My dad was, he was a coach for a bit. Whenever he could find time to come in as an assistant coach. A couple games he umpired, which was pretty hilarious. He made a couple calls in our favor that you gotta love it when it gets heated out there. You know what? I'm gonna say real quick to just close up this little league thing, but I thought it was interesting because the game, it was a game earlier today with the Texas team facing off against the Chinese team, and the Chinese team won 10-0, and they called it a run rule, right? When one team is winning by 10 or more runs, they call off the game, and they call it a run rule now. But when I played, it was called slaughter rule. I mean, that was literally what it was called. So I had to look it up to be like, I was like, wait a minute, don't they call it slaughter rule? And oh yeah, they changed that years ago, and it was even like special instruction in the Little League, rule book that was like, thou shalt not call it slaughter rule or mercy rule. Like, yeah, soft. These kids are soft, man.
I know.
The 80s were savage. It was slaughter rule. You went home crying.
Yeah, not everyone gets a trophy.
You got slaughtered, officially slaughtered, and that was what it was.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
No more.
Well, geez, the hot topics we can cover.
Sure.
Plentiful. I mean, where to begin? I do. Should we stay tender and soft? Because I do appreciate your post about pets and animals that you had, because I do know I'm doing these home visits now as a teacher. Yeah. And you can see when there's a pet, when someone has their own pet animal, they have a different energy field. Like absolutely. It's kind of sweet. Here, I'll pull
up the share. Yeah. So if y'all head over to my Instagram.com/kidsgethealthyUSA, you'll be able to find all these wonderful posts. This post is coming from the Daily Herald, which is, local hometown paper from where Heidi and I grew up, covered the suburban Chicagoland. And this was a really sweet article, I thought. It was National Dog Day yesterday, and they were covering how animals, in this case, particularly dogs, therapy dogs, can help out kids' health, and especially in the hospital setting. Mm-hmm. And, they really do make an impact. Interestingly enough, it's not covered in this article, but, years ago I read actually an article about how bringing in animals into a hospital environment also benefited, the immune systems of people in the hospital. And one of the things is dogs bring in the outside environment, and those microbes can help train the immune systems of people, in that setting. So it's fascinating. We do know that people live longer when they own pets. I think that there's a lot of that has to just do with having something to take care of, or someone. Let's just, if we can personify these animals. But, they do bring good cheer to the hospital setting. And I did think this was really sweet.
Yeah.
Dogs can detect cancer even. Stop share on this one. But we know that in fact dogs are better at properly trained dogs can be better at detecting cancer early than a lot of the modern medical diagnostic equipment
Wow. I'm
that we
not
have.
surprised, actually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Wow.
another case for bringing in pets. It was interesting, as it said on there, that some parents they found that even parents that were dead set against bringing dogs into their home after they saw the impact, firsthand in the hospital, they went ahead and adopted an animal. So
Aw.
shout out to
Yeah,
pets.
shout out to the pets.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the pets and the shelters that could use a lot of love.
Absolutely.
They're overrun usually, so
Yeah.
go there
Absolutely.
first. So that was a sweet one, and now let's get a little rough.
A sweet one, and then well, yeah, we've got to, before we solve problems, we got to identify them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's pull up. Let's do another screen share here. Here is a study, actually a report that came out from an organization called Little Otter. Again, I definitely recommend you guys checking out this report. The name of the report is Breaking the Silence, Meeting the Mental Health Needs of Young Children and Their Families. And the big take home that I chose to highlight for this report was, I'll quote this: "What's striking is the symbiotic relationship between the mental health of mothers and their children. When moms reported clinical levels of anxiety and depression, a staggering 90% of their children were also grappling with mental health challenges." Kind of wild to think about. It was a big study, too. It was based on 2.4 million data points collected from over 11,000 families. So,
Wow.
can close share. Let's chat a little bit about this one, Heidi.
Yeah, that's heavy.
But
I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take when you read something like that? What's your motherly sort of take on when you see something
So
like
much
that?
compassion because I've been there. I've been in the struggling days of early motherhood, especially when you have two little ones under 5.
Yeah.
And you yourself, your world is difficult, and you do everything you can to keep the magic. It's like shiny, shiny, but your insides are dying. And all I knew is that I still produced an energy field that was anxious. Both my children suffered from anxiety at one point. I still, no matter all the bells and whistles that I did to distract from our at that time situation, they picked up on my energy. And that was so hard to witness when when I pulled myself out of it in certain ways, but I watched how my daughter progressed through it. And this led to about 3 years ago, picking. She's picking skin.
Yeah.
And we wound up getting on some niacin and L-theanine, and we just kind of balanced her a little bit, but she didn't even know she was doing it. But it was an underlying cause. I connected it to all that anxiety that I was exuding, thinking I was sheltering them from it, but they pick up on it, and they can have physical effects like that on a child.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of compassion I have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Same here. For me, through the years working with a lot of families, and you pick up on the family energy. There is that element of it creating a loop, in a sense that, okay, child is reading your energy, exhibiting certain behaviors, you're picking on that up, that's adding to, you become anxious about the anxiety.
Yep.
And it
And then
starts
guilt and
layering
shame.
up, and guilt, and it can really, and everybody's kind of swimming in it like the fish that don't know they're in the water, right? How do you know when you're in it like that?
Yeah.
And it's something that I definitely have observed, where if I'm talking to a child, and they're panicky, they're dealing with anxiety, more times than not, you'll see that from the parents, and then you got to reverse engineer the issue. And that was quite a report, and in fact, since the last time we talked, it was a lot of things that were popping up in headlines had to do with mental health, whether it's like emerging from the pandemic, developmental issues, children kind of lagging now behind, a lot going on.
Yeah.
We can jump to another post. And I think also like even going now into, hey, there we go. There's the wall. Look at that. Look at that.
Sorry,
grid. That is elite. Let's take it over to here. Another big one that popped up. Basically a call for help here. American Academy of Pediatrics, College of Emergency Physicians and Emergency Nurses Association calling for strategies to improve care for children, adolescents seeking urgent help from mental, behavioral health concerns. So this really, really made my eyes jump out of my skull here.
I know. Look at that. Sorry, go ahead. That's
the
crazy.
number of children seeking psychiatric care has skyrocketed from just 30 a month to a staggering 30 a day. So, we've got ERs experiencing bottlenecks and backlogs just due to the sheer number. Here's Dr. Willow Jenkins being talked about, sharing her experience. She's one sort of talking about the 30 per month turning into 30 per day. You're talking about suicidal ideation. Rough stuff, right?
It's so rough. And I mean, not to totally segue us, but I think part of the mental health traumas too, this might be older, but there's a lot of that gender ideology out there and there's a lot of confusion. And there's that hot topic, but also parents that medicate themselves. So thus, that's my choice. That's my choice with kids.
We can close screen and talk on this topic here for a bit.
Yeah.
What we do know to the point on prescriptions that they've spiked dramatically in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. Those medications prescribed to parents and younger ones, and when you add in some of these other elements, it does start to just become too much. And now as we're going back into the school year and lo and behold, we have another wave of apparently coming on the scene.
Apparently.
Right.
Yeah. Cali leaked.
It's now here we go again, right?
Yeah.
What is the way out? And it's I will say this, if you're not privy to the counter narratives, then you're in for a world of hurt. I really do believe that.
That's a beautiful way of saying it, Lawrence.
Right.
By the way, that was beautiful.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
Because what it is it's I saw my God, I didn't post it on my page yet. I think I will be talking about it, but it was. Let me try to find it off camera here, because it's sort of worth segueing into this crazy headline. Yeah, let's go there. Let's go there. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead and share my screen. So
I'm curious.
This really kind of takes the cake. I don't know if you saw this yet. This is a real headline.
What?
I'm going to just read this off. Okay.
Yeah.
The shackles of ignorance. Why rejecting experts is the new form of slavery. And then the subline here. It's everything the experts said a post-truth misinformation society would be, and now it even kills. What we are witnessing is nothing less than slavery 2.0. I left a comment on here you can see off on the right for those viewing at home. Go ahead and read that, Heidi.
Oh, gosh.
Can you see that? I can read it.
I don't want to do it in front of the camera.
I'll read it. In my opinion, the real rejecting experts quote that has been occurring has been from mainstream media refusing to give a platform to credible experts who counter the chosen narrative. Go ahead and close the screen on that. So,
mic drop.
We're asked to follow the experts. And when we are rejecting the mainstream narrative a bit, or at least trying to counter it, with another team of experts, we're told that, we're rejecting experts outright. And I would counter that no, we're just being denied the counter viewpoints from people who are legitimate experts in the field. And experts rarely ever agree, guys. I mean, that's why you have to hash things out in debate and points and counterpoints. And what we've seen is really just this one-sided mainstream narrative that I can tell you that when I've exposed people close to me, friends, family, where I've just simply shown them, hey, were you aware of this point? It is staggering how it's almost like you're going to see one of two things, like an open-minded person going, oh my God, wow, tell me more. Or the immediate cognitive dissonance that kicks in.
And fluoride
stare. Earmuffs and the fluoride stare.
Yeah.
And they just kind of numb over, and they can't receive it. It
breaks
the brain.
Yeah. We're going to have another, I mean, I don't know if we are, because I know thoughts become things and they say, and there's leaks. I get that. Who knows what will come down in the next few months, but I think we've had a couple years to get some things in order, namely your temple and sovereignty and free will and your choices. So hopefully people have said, I'm going to dig a little bit. And they've done some due diligence and research and understand that they have choices when it comes to what's coming.
Absolutely.
And I know, people like us, we've been hit since 2020, 2021. Our videos were taken down, a lot of things just for invoking, what about this data? And what about this data? Just trying to invoke conversation, seeing that just that alone shut down. It was like, I see some puppet masters at work here.
Absolutely. So. Well said. And now, when I've been getting my Facebook memories,
I know
it's
I'm
been
scared
almost,
to click on them.
It's almost
put me in jail again.
It's almost like, oh my God, seeing one thing after another where I'm like, oh, I was right about that.
You're like a little Nostradamus here. Yeah.
Look at the comments below. Yeah. Right.
I actually did get a community strike when I rebumped one of my old posts, and it put me in jail before. I was like,
I got a warning from one from 2 years ago, not too long ago.
Like,
I was like, wow, you guys really.
But I also see them doing this. Like, they're really trying to just get it going again.
Yeah.
And it's up to us to stay true to ourselves and, choose wisely.
So here's we could do another screen share, another sort of juicy post. This was a poll that was looking for from CS Mott Children's Hospital. And they did a national poll on children's health, and they really wanted to just kind of find out the leading concerns for parents. And you can see the list here: overuse of devices, social media, internet safety has become real big concern. Depression, suicide, bullying, stress, anxiety, unhealthy diet, cost of health care, violence. I mean, we can see it's layers and layers here. I'm going to actually tab over to that point where, we're talking about unhealthy diet and all this. And it's like, you're kind of getting this double whammy. This was a post on ultra processed food and psychological distress. The reason I want to kind of toggle back between these two is we see, like, here we have a study on people who consume more ultra processed foods are more likely to experience psychological distress later in life, right? And so the participants who had the highest levels of ultra processed food consumption, so that was the top quarter, had a 14% higher likelihood of experiencing psychological distress. And so you can kind of see from the holistic standpoint that, you're going to create more vulnerabilities through diet, right? So let's just actually keep going through to screen time, right?
Yeah, it's all
kind of stack
related.
All of this, right? So now here we go to toddler screen time. And this was interesting because, we're putting screens in front of little ones as young as 1 year old, right? Just throwing an iPad in front of their face. But now we're seeing that screen time at age 1 is turning into communication and problem-solving developmental delay at age 2 and 4 years, right?
And we don't know even further down yet.
Right. We don't know yet, right? We're kind of living this experiment. So we've got communication issues, gross motor delays, fine motor delays, problem solving, personal and social skill delays, So we can close up screen here.
Yeah.
Reason sort of showing those in a row is to say, like, it's not just any one thing. We're in a soup.
All multi-layered. It's a
Get
multi-layered
outside.
situation. Yes. And everything you just showed, though, is still people with their choices. They're choosing to do that. This isn't a force. It's changing how you do things that can alleviate a lot of these issues.
Correct. And so, you know, and it can be a little disheartening if, okay, great. Well, you know, my child now is 4 or 5, and I was doing that. And what does that mean now? It's like, look, keep it moving. We'll keep moving forward. And there's always ways to reverse course. But it is a multi-factor approach at home, on the home level, and then finding supportive communities, because that becomes huge. You are going to become, you know, the accumulation of what they say, the 5 people closest to you. So, you know, I know, Heidi, you've got such a cool community that you've been immersed in, that, you know,
it is like a bubble.
it becomes that, but the more we can maybe reach that out, invite people in, try to kind of, you know, extend an arm out there. And
for sure. People have to be willing to jump. And what I mean by bubble is not that we're ignorant to the causes. We just don't entertain things anymore because we've so firm in our choices that it's like, fine, that's happening, but it's not even going to affect us because we don't choose that. But to find more that are willing to do that, absolutely, there is no wall. Come on in, everybody.
So what's a hopeful solution? Let's bring up another screen share for a little bump in hope there. So kind of dragged into.
You got any hopium?
Yeah, a little bit of hopium. This was really a positive finding, and something that I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. So 10 minutes to better nutrition, right? So what they found was just 10 more minutes at the dinner table can boost a child's nutrition. Well, what does that mean, right? So it's a groundbreaking new study. And the key was extending the dinner time by 10 more minutes, right? So you have to incorporate food exposure, right? So research discovered that when kids spent around 30 minutes at the table instead of the usual 20, the consumption of fruit and vegetables significantly increased, right? So on average, children consumed an impressive additional 100 grams of fruit and vegetables during these extended meal times. So to put that in perspective, you guys, this extra amount is nearly equivalent to one of the 5 recommended daily servings of these nutritious foods. What's interesting here, so the study involved 50 parent-child pairs with children averaging around 8 years old, and parents were averaging around 43 years old. During the study, a traditional, it was a German study, so traditional German meal was served, including, so you had sliced bread, cold cuts, cheese, and they laid out both fruits and vegetables cut into, this was an important part of it, it was cut into manageable bite-sized portions, okay? Study built upon previous research, which suggests that the length of time spent at the table is a crucial factor and can, you know, manipulate, you know, children's eating habits. But this was super cool. This part I really loved.
Yeah. What?
Interestingly, the study revealed that extended meal durations did not result in children consuming more bread, cold cuts, or desserts. So this led research to speculate that the appeal of the bite-sized fruits and vegetables might be attributed to their convenience and the ease of consumption. So you can close screen here.
Wow.
But
okay, I gotta remember that.
It's interesting because, you know, I've said before, Heidi, on the show, I've talked about the importance of exposure. But now we can actually put like a little bit of specificity on it and say, okay, let's spend a little more time together, guys. And my take is there's probably other factors in there where you're not rushing.
Yeah,
we're actually
that's the big one.
We have a proper meal at the table and presenting food. And again, no pressure environment, fruits, veggies, just kind of laid out alongside the other items. Have the dessert out there at the same time. As a reiteration, we don't want a pedestal. We don't want to put the quote unquote bad food on a pedestal. And that seems to work out really, really good. So I think that that's just an easy play. And when we're working on behavioral psychology here, no force. This was done where they call it ad libitum. They let the children, you know, they just kind of observed and saw what they did. There was no offering. There was no going out of their way. It was just simply lay out fruits and veggies in bite-sized portions, extend the meal time, and it showed a significant difference. It actually, to me, it actually tipped these children into a far better healthy eating pattern. So
that's so cute. I love it. And I can
amazing.
contest. We did order out. We had Indian recently.
Okay.
But we got it, and we had this record 3-day binge of Monopoly. So we definitely spent more time at the table, and we ate while we played. But I noticed everybody tried everything, and they've never done that before. Now my daughter knows she likes Indian food.
Yeah,
so that
right.
was kind. We were playing. It was casual. It was You want to try it? I didn't even,
Food events should be associated with positive communication. We're associative beings. If we associate being at the dinner table with lectures and uncomfortable vibes and feeling judged, well, how is that going to play out through your life? You're going to have a really awful relationship with mealtime and food in general.
Yes.
So we want to create, and this is what the other team is really good at, right? The fast food companies, the major food corporations that are they understand the emotional element of food. The happy meal, the playgrounds, the party element. You can create that around a healthy eating experience, guys. You can do that. You absolutely can do that.
And I think it's in our bloods. It's family. It's cultural. So many cultures. I mean, you can go back to the Vikings. Like, it's celebratory. It's sunrise, sundown. It's the farmers, the pioneers. They have to have their meal in order to do their work, and you do it together when the meal is fresh. Like, it's in our blood. Fast food was changing all that stuff, but they knew what they were doing because they marketed it very well.
Absolutely.
The celebrations are. Bring back the feasts and the sit down. It doesn't have to just be Thanksgiving. Not feast of so much food, but just the camaraderie and communication and socialization of bringing the family unit together.
Absolutely. Serve food on a proper table, put people together. I have found in a lot of situations, it's kind of fragmented. Well, Joey eats at the coffee table over there, and Susie, she's in a room. Like, I mean, just it's surprising, really, how the disintegration of the family meal. And I think, like, on like a high level here, the sort of point to circle it all around is that we need each other in community, whether it's like on the tribal level at home, and then in the outer community at large. Society needs that cohesiveness, and the breaking up of the family unit and all these different things that go into that. People will suffer on an individual level when they don't have, that cohesiveness at home. So food is an amazing vehicle to bring people together. So
and create healthy habits.
Absolutely. It's how you do it. So
that's so sweet. And there's always room for improvement. Because I am not innocent with the patterns and things, but I'm not going to live in shame and guilt either. There's room for improvement. We make little improvements and just be aware of the patterns you are creating. Yeah. You know what? The dragon lady, the grandma, to my mom, who in turn to me, everything was dessert it was a reward for everything.
Yeah.
And it was dessert, and then special events. And I did this for my kids once even. It was like, make it on Sundays, anything you want, but for them, it wound up being all the time. Like, oh, you were so good today. Here's a treat. Everything was like a puppy. And it was like created really a generational issue that I really had to pay attention to. Cause I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing that to my kids. And I never liked that. Sometimes you can't, it's in you. And you're like, why am I doing what my grandma did? And, my mom hated it for it, but you got to be aware of it first, and then everything's a choice. Just make those little choices.
It's an emotional vocabulary that you've learned. That's all it is. And we talked about food as a reward. We did an episode,
we did do that.
Again, I had a little bit of a hot take on it, saying, food can be a reward. There are people out there that it should never be a reward, but that's simply impossible, I found. But I feel like if it's the only reward, that's where it can become problematic, where there's other ways to reward behaviors besides food. Words of encouragement, or hey, here, create little coupons for, in the house, or little toys, or little, like, we need rewards. People are driven by reward. We need, we do want to reward behavior we want to see more of, and we want to, discourage behavior we want to see less of. But if it's only through food, yeah, you're gonna see some issues. I mean, when my team won the championship, when I was in Little League, we went to the restaurant my mom worked at, and we ate banana splits. And damn right we're gonna eat. Damn right you're gonna celebrate with food. Damn right, you know. So there's a place for all that. It's just when it's the only go-to, you're missing out on other opportunities for connection, and it just becomes only about, like, the cookie or the treat or the dessert. So
you want authentic behaviors, not, oh, I'm going to do this so I can get a cookie.
right.
You want them to be authentically nice.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
oh gosh,
but that's kind of been the big updates, Heidi.
You covered all that. I think the mental health was a big to do. That's crazy. My goodness.
Maybe one last one. I mean, this one's kind of like, and maybe this can plant the seed for future, but let's pull up this one. This is kind of from left field, but I want to kind of alert people to this because
good one.
This is, like, kind of, let's just quickly touch on it, and then maybe we can do deeper dives on this. But this was a study on microwaves and microplastics, and they were assessing the release of microplastics and nanoplastics from plastic containers, and also the reusable food pouches, right? And so some of these containers could release as many as 4.22 million microplastic and 2.11 billion nanoplastic particles from only 1 square centimeter of plastic area. And that's within 3 minutes of microwave heating. What's kind of crazy was even some of these pouches were and containers were supposed to be like sort of like on the safer side.
BPA free.
Yeah, all
when
these
they
things.
Say that.
So we're seeing these, polyethylene, polypropylene, compounds, and these different compounds released. And they just did it. The graphic there illustrates there where they just basically filled up one of these containers with clean water. We're straightforward, microwave it for 3 minutes, and they found the particles suspended in the water. Very cut and dry. This is not controversial here. So microwaves have been a point of contention for a long time in the health community. Like, they say, are they not? I know I've eaten food from microwave, but I personally haven't microwave food intentionally on my own since like the late 90s.
I know, right? I haven't even had one till we moved into this house. Yeah, I didn't even have one. It was our bread. My kids didn't even know what it was till we moved into this house. They're like, there's a bread box on the wall. I'm like, it's actually a microwave.
There's a bread box with like controls on it. What is this, Mom?
And now I tell them, like, it kills your, we'd have to talk about all that stuff, but now that it's in our face and we own one, it's like, oh gosh, we've used it.
Yeah.
But I school them.
And, that's just, again, a little digression there, but that was something that came up. I was like, whoa, okay. Just another reason to avoid them. It's just, the continuing theme is once you sort of deviate from the natural order of things too far, you get a little too cute, a little too big for your britches. There's always a trade-off.
Yeah.
And we're seeing that here.
I know. And again,
technological trade-off.
It's a technological trade-off, but also that's people rushing again. There's our stress because take an extra 2 to 4 minutes and just put it on the stove and warm it up. It works.
I got an air fryer that
nice.
I've been really loving. Using it.
We haven't done it yet
recently. Yeah.
Okay.
Just doing the air fryer.
Okay.
And that there's always something with that. But to me, it's a little more of a traditional heat source, and
Okay.
But
Yeah.
microplastics. One more quick recommendation for those who haven't heard me recommend this before on previous episodes is Redmond Real Salt, microplastic-free salt. Comes from a purified salt bed in Utah, and there are absolutely no contaminants in that salt. Salt is a big source of microplastic contamination in our diet. So
Red Mill's a good brand too. It's not on that chart, I don't think. Red Mill.
Redmond is the real salt. Redmond Real Salt.
Okay.
Yeah, there is Red Mill, Bob's Red Mill.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think they've been bought yet, right?
Real salt is wonderful. Lots of salt. There's a lot of different kinds of salts out there, and it's one that I recommend.
My buddy turned me on to the Arctic or Celtic sea salt, but it's like big chunks. You have to mortar it yourself.
Yep.
That's been our salt, and it seems pretty clean.
I'm
gonna try that Redmond for a table.
There might be, I'd have to look and dig. Like there might be like a resource online for, a list of salts and the level of contamination. I just know that this one's clean, so I go with it.
Nice. Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, do you want a random confessional on health?
Sure. I always we always got to do a little confessional. If you do one, I'll do one.
Yeah. Well, because, we talk so much and we had all that beautiful mouth care and oral care at the beginning of our series here. We're on episode 16, everybody.
Wait a minute. Wait.
I know.
1, 2, 3.
Shoot.
Okay. 3. Try it again. 1, 2, 3.
Hey,
there we go. Okay.
That's a little better.
That's a high five for 16. We totally neglected that at the start.
We did.
16. Wow.
I know, right?
Okay.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Pearly whites. Okay. Never had braces, great teeth, all the works. 3 years ago, I was told I have advanced periodontal disease. And I've been treating it at home. I've done the little swishies, the Perio Bright and things. I bought the red light. I know they do teeth whitening with the blue light, but I just keep it on red for forever. And of course, let's not forget inflammation diet does not help. So I would always have a flare up after something inflammatory. Well, the last few months, it was like infection. They kept switching off in my gums, abscess. It was gnarly. Last week of school, I couldn't shut my mouth. It got pretty bad. And I went in and I go, I thought I'd been doing all the things, and they're like, it's time. It's time. And my guy he cleans with ozone. He's holistic dentistry, but he did refer me to somebody and I had to and this was the day after we taped last time, I got gum surgery. But what they do now, and I only could afford the top, but I'll get the bottom another time, but the infections are gone. I finally am like, oh yeah, this is how it feels to chew normal. Okay. What they do is they use red lasers now. They don't skin graft or gum graft, and they'll laser out and they'll lift and then they'll deep clean and get all the way up there, those roots, and then laser it back down and then you heal. It was pretty traumatic. I mean, you're smelling flesh and everything. But I felt like I was at the end. I was trying the stuff, all my things. It would be a temporary thing, but some infection would come back. And so I feel like it's helping resolve it, but I kind of wanted to know your thoughts on it. I feel like I copped out, but at the same time, I was tired of suffering.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it sounds like you're in good hands, which is a good thing. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
I had insurance, so I know not many can do that. I mean,
it's there's specialists in this area for a reason. So I would defer to, but I feel like you found, you found the right, and we could talk, and we could probably talk off camera a little more about that.
A couple more. Yeah. That guy needed more bedside manner though. He was just like, okay, let's start. And I'm like, prep me, tell me what's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, there are things to support. I mean, dental health, coenzyme Q10, vitamin C kind of would be a good thing to kind of have on board right now through this time. If you're looking at gum health, CoQ10, 100 to 200 milligrams or more even can be really, really useful. And your vitamin C with bioflavonoids. It really comes down to the health of the gums. Mm-hmm.
There was so much decay underneath that you couldn't see. And I didn't know until I would get x-rays. And that's why I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that.
And moving forward, it's sugar, sugar, sugar. That's the primary culprit. In the absence of sugar, you really can't form. You really can't form dental caries without sugar. So it's interesting.
Yeah. My OG guy, my holistic guy that finally sent me there, he's the one who told me 3 years ago, and he was loving all my treatments I was doing. But I did a confessional when he told me it's time, and he looked at me, he goes, why you? And I go, 10 years of bulimia. I was alcohol forever. I just rattled off like old lives I've had. And he's like, okay. And I go, in 7 years, I didn't go see a dentist at all because I was too depressed, like all the things added. And then night eater, mouth breather, like all this stuff.
Yeah. And we've covered the breathing.
Yes, we covered all of that. And he's just like, it just got to the point. He goes, I'm worried you're going to lose your teeth. So I think this is your next step. So I'm like, say no more. So, yeah, but I told him all those things because we'd been going to him and he didn't know all that. And now it's kind of like he had a dot connection, like, because he's like, why is this happening to her? She has all the other health things. I go, your past caught up with me. And it also was lurking in the shadows. And I didn't take care of my teeth deep enough for a very long time. So oral health is everything. I tell you, it gave me more energy since I've had that. I felt physically different the day after, and not just because I was healing. I felt more clarity. I was like, oh my gosh, I had an underlying decay. So,
yeah, it's pretty wild. The network, the channels through the body that all lead from the mouth, and
crazy.
Some of these holistic minded dentists understand that on a very deep level. Like, I mean, if you look at some of the information of like root canals, to just anybody out there, if you could avoid, I've had some root canals many, many, many years ago before I knew a little bit better. There's probably a case to be made where at points it might be, unavoidable, but it is really
get to the unavoidable
important
part.
to take care of the mouth. It's literally the gateway, the big opening.
The gateway. I know.
Well,
what's your confessional?
I was just gonna say, but
I'll keep sharing mine.
I ate like trash. That was my. I think I had the Dodger dog last time. So
that was your other one.
This was went to a spot down by Hermosa Pier, and ate some fried chicken and waffles and a Philly cheesesteak and some truffle fries, and I loved every second. But that was that was not usually what I'm going to be eating.
Usually have some color. You usually put color in there. Mr. Rainbow Chef.
I paid the price today for the fried food. My system is not built for fried food,
but you enjoyed the moment.
I absolutely did, every second of it. And that's the one thing, is when I know I'm going in. So I completely enjoyed it. I loved every second. Awesome. I had amazing company. I was with my girl, and
yay!
And we had a great time. So
that's beautiful. That's cool. Well, there is our confessionals, people.
I don't have a perfect diet, you guys. But it's calculated. And I think actually, like, for me at least, if I'm looking forward, like, okay, I'll have a little whatever on the weekend, to me that just breaks up things, and then I'm looking forward to kind of getting back to robot mode, as you used to call it, Heidi. I'm a robot.
I know. As I'm eating my block of cheese, sipping my wine.
I like my food. I like my healthy living, but every once in a while, gotta have some chicken and waffles. Philly cheesesteak. Yummy.
Well, I love it. Well, I can't wait. We're going to be back again in 2 weeks, and we'll hit some more hot topics you have. Folks, if you haven't not checked out kidsgethealthy.com, I don't know why, because we're episode 16. Come on now.
Now.
Our playlists are up on Rumble and YouTube and Facebook Live events. And we are under Instagram, KidsGetHealthyUSA. Mm-hmm. And you know where to find me. All the links will be below. But I did see Rainbow Chefs. You were like the honorary member recently. That was your
shouting
birthday?
me out for
Birthday
my
shout?
birthday. Yeah, Rainbow
That
Chefs
was neat.
Academy. Guys, check out Rainbow Chefs
I love
Academy.
Rainbow Chef. I have that link here.
RainbowChefsAcademy.com. If you're in the
Here we
Bay
go.
Area, if you happen to be in the Bay Area while you're listening to this, we have an events side of the business where you can book a party. You could do a team building event, corporate event. You could do a kid's birthday party if you're up in the Bay Area. One day we hope to go national with that side of the business. But Rainbow Chefs Academy, if you are a school administrator, superintendent, principal, you might be interested in getting Rainbow Chefs Academy into your school. We're developing new courses. This is really an exciting time for the organization, and we're scaling up big time right now. So I'm a real busy boy behind the scenes.
I know.
Working,
I'm so excited
hard,
for you. So excited for you. And you're still slaying on your page. Check out kidsgethealthy.com.
Yeah, and on my Instagram, KidsGetHealthyUSA. If you are the Instagram owner of Kids Get Healthy, give it up. You haven't done anything on your page, and I want that URL. But it's KidsGetHealthyUSA. And
let me put that
and then
up.
kidsgethealthy.com, you can find out more about me. And if you want to book a session, there's a bit of a waiting list right now. But
is there? Look at you.
Well, it's
Correct.
Time is of the essence. But spoiler alert, look for probably sometime 2024. Oh, we got Adventures with Amy.
Oh, shoot. Wrong one.
That's all right.
Sorry.
But it's shout out to Adventures with Amy.
I know.
Hey.
Love her.
What's up, Amy?
Love her. She's with Scott in Green Bay.
Green Bay, eh? Oh, yeah. But a little bit of a spoiler alert. There's some fun stuff in the works with the Kids Get Healthy ecosystem, looking to put out courses for parents, for homeschool moms.
Yeah.
There's going to be some epic, fundamentally game-changing stuff coming your way, guys. Like
2024,
we're changing the game like big time. So yeah, like
awesome.
big time. So yeah,
fantastic.
kidsgethealthy.com. That's me. RainbowChefsAcademy.com. Check us out over there. Yeah.
Awesome.
And one more round of applause to El Segundo, representing California in the 2023 Little League World Series. What?
Woohoo! Go Littles.
Go
Cal Littles. That's so cool. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Awesome. Thanks again. I had fun with you. And thank you folks for tuning in and catching us. Holler any cues in the question. Or any questions in the queue?
The cues were the cues. P's and all that.
And all that jazz. And we're going to end with a fabulous little commercial for Kids Get Healthy. You be well, Lawrence. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.